The progressive liberal tyrants on the West Coast have been watching the events in the new Free Republic of Florida very closely and have rightfully so been terrified of being supplanted as the nation's number one financial powerhouse. Well, today their fear finally reached critical mass and they have struck back. In tonight's video, I'm going to detail that for you and also share with you an event from earlier today that I think speaks volumes to what we can expect in the future. There was a live stream from Bal Harbour, Florida, and the governor was speaking at a Jewish temple, and the rabbi introducing him made a very curious and interesting statement, and I'd like you to hear it for yourself.
It's my great honor and merit to introduce to you the great governor and future world leader. The great governor and future world leader. The great governor and future world leader.
Future world leader. Now, I don't believe for 1 minute that our governor has any designs on sitting in any chairs in Washington, D.C. So that kind of narrows it down as to what's really happening. But back to California. Some weeks ago, the Florida Senate ratified a historic compact with the Seminole tribe, the original people who lived here in North America. Now, this was the last straw for California because when this takes effect, it is going to represent a paradigm shift in finances, and it will be the final nail in the coffin. And they are full court press in Washington, D.C., trying to get them, begging them to stop this, but they're not going to because Washington, D.C. needs the money. They need the taxes. And right now, Florida is the only place paying the bills. And that's just the way it is. We have a $10 billion surplus sitting in our bank accounts, while most states are not even breaking even. In fact, they're so far in debt, they may never be out of debt again. Now, what did California do? The only thing they could do, they turned to Silicon Valley and said, you need to ban advertising for gambling and political ads on your masthead. June 14, 2021, YouTube is banning alcohol, gambling, and politics from its most prominent ad slot. Gosh, what a coincidence that just happens to coincide right when Florida signs a deal with the Seminole tribe that could bring in billions and billions and billions of revenue for gambling for the state of Florida. Now, it doesn't really matter what your opinion is on the state of Florida or on gambling. The coincidence is not one. This is a direct attack on the state of Florida and a direct attack on the Seminole tribe by the progressive liberal tyrants on the West Coast and their allies in Silicon Valley. Seminole Trail of Tears. The Seminole, the only tribe to never sign a peace treaty, by the way, like their 5 civilized tribes brethren, were victims of a calculated purge of Native Americans throughout the United States in the 19th century. Through coercion, deceit, and ultimately force, the Union government relocated southeastern tribes west of the Mississippi River. While many were forced on arduous and ignoble marches to their new lands, the Seminole withdrew into the Florida Everglades and resisted relocation through 3 great Seminole Wars, lasting over a decade. These engagements were the longest, costliest, and most bitter wars of removal fought by the U.S. government. In the aftermath, by the Union government. In the aftermath, less than 3,000 Seminoles were removed to the Indian Territory, while some 300 were left in the swamps of central Florida. Upon arrival in the Indian Territory, however, self-determination would be denied them, as they were confined to the Creek Nation and its laws. Only after a decade of struggle and the political upheaval of the War of Federal Aggression was the tribe able to form a sovereign Seminole nation in 1866, with Wewoka as its chosen capital. I wonder how this is going to play out. I really am curious how they are going to try to spin this as not an attack on Native Americans and Native American interests. Who do you think is going to want to advertise gambling after this new compact with the state of Florida? Of course the Seminole tribe is going to want to advertise. And now YouTube has just banned it. And alcohol. And politics. They know what's coming. They know what's coming, and it's about to get hot. All y'all out in the middle, I duck. That includes you, Texas, because it's about to get hot between Florida and California. We've had enough. The rest of the country has had enough a long time ago, but we're in a position to do something about it. And trust me, folks in California, we're not holding on to this idea of unity. See, that's what the people who are going to lose the fight always talk about. Unity. These lines have never meant more than they mean now. And those of you out there still wanting to wave around the American flag, there were people that still wanted to stay in England after we separated from them. And there were also people in the South that wanted to just give in and not have any resistance to the Union. This can't stand. And it won't stand. They're losing, and they are pulling out every possible stop they can to try to mitigate a huge wave moving across this country. They know they're losing, and it's only been, 6 months? Maybe? See, January, February, March, April, May, June. 5 months. Not even 6 months. They're losing. They're losing the war for ideas. They're losing momentum. They're losing the youth. They, the progressive liberal tyrants on the West Coast and Northeast, are in a state of shock right now because it's just not working. It's just not working, and we're not going to give up. We're not going to give up, and we are not going to take our foot off of the accelerator. When was the last time you ever heard prayer from a governor acknowledging God as God? And that's what happened at this press conference, by the way. I'll give you the link to my live. There's 2 of them. I'll give you both, the early and the late. And you can listen, and it will make your jaw drop. You would think that everything that's transpired in the last 10 to 15 years in this country, maybe 20, hadn't happened in Florida. We're talking about putting God back in schools. Seriously. This is what happens when you have a 2-to-1 majority in your state house and a 60-40 supermajority in your Senate. It isn't just about Ron DeSantis. He's a good man, and he has shown an exceptional level of leadership. But it's not just about him. Even if he were to go, his lieutenant governor, which I think is in the second video that I don't have up here. Well, maybe I do. Hold on. Her name is Jeanette Nunez. Let's see if we can get a better picture here. She would take over for 6 years and just continue. And we have one conservative after another conservative after another conservative that will just take the baton each time. And there won't be any contest. They're defeated down here in a way like they are nowhere else. And in a full state of retreat. And we have now done something to bless the original inhabitants of North America, and the progressive liberal tyrants can't have it. They can't have it succeed because it would take away their power, and they don't like that. They don't like anybody taking away their power, and they will hurt anyone to keep it. So like I said, duck and cover, because it is about to get hot between California and Florida. God bless, like, share, subscribe.